Okay, welcome to another lunchtime video. There's going to be a lunchtime video, even though I'm kind of getting frustrated with this, but I think I'll be able to solve it pretty soon. I did spend a little bit of time off camera, just kind of going through. I'm not sure if on camera I organized the answer key files or not, but I do have the files from the official repo that can serve as an answer key. Um, on my VM that I'm using for this tutorial right now, so I can spend the first part of this video comparing those, seeing if there's differences. I might want to just wipe out what I've got with the answer key and see if that makes a difference. Right now, my prevailing theory for why things aren't working is because of my PostGRE SQL version. I think I'm using, so the tutorial uses 11.6, and I think I'm using 13 now. So I think I'm just getting a lot of things happening that aren't happening the way they're expected to happen. I did have that module not found error, so that's another thing I can do is look at that more closely and see if I can do a pip install for that module that was not found. I think that's what I want to try first because that's going to be the easiest thing. So let's try that first. Let's go move into the flask-by-example repo and go code dot to open Visual Studio Code. And then we're going to start up the environment, go through all the steps to try to get the output that the tutorial expects at this point. And then once we see that module error that has been the issue so far, we'll see if we can do a pip install on the module it's calling for. Okay, so before I do a Flask run, I'm going to start the Redis server because the Flask run is dependent on that server being up, so I'll make sure its dependency is complete before I start it. And then the worker file is another dependency, so make sure that dependency is satisfied as well. Oops, we've got no module named Redis. I'm not sure what's going on there. I think what I might have done, yeah, so we can see we've got changes here. So I already changed the requirements.txt file, and I think I already deleted my pre-existing VNV. So if I do a pip freeze, yep, so now we can see there's only one module here with the pip freeze. I'm kind of surprised to see this in there. I think I'm going to blank out. I'm going to do a pip uninstall on that before I install everything from the actual file, requirements.txt file. Okay. Okay, so I had one more. Oh, no, I got that right. It looks like I have an extra 0, but it was able to determine the correct package anyway. So yes, I would like to proceed with that. Successfully uninstalled. So now let's do a pip install, and we'll do upgrade pip. So nice to finally have that memorized. For the longest time I did not have that memorized, and now I can do that much faster. So the next requirement is pip install-r requirements.txt, and now we're going to be installing the requirements from the answer key file, and that's problematic, we can see here, because some of these older versions, it looks like they're not able to to install. Okay, so I guess I want to take a different approach. I'm going to remove all of the specific requirements here. So I guess I'm not sure how to do that. Oh, I can do a find replace. And be nice if I could do. I can do regular expressions. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna find that, and then we're gonna any character, any number of times. There we go. And then we're gonna replace that with nothing. All right, so now we don't have any specific requirements for any of the modules. So let's try to install that again. All right, so better results for some of the packages, but it looks like there's other ones that are still having problems. Okay, so we still got this problem. No module name package resources. I mean, that makes sense because I just uninstalled that module. So let me try to install that again. Okay, no distribution. Now, I think if I scroll up, I can see specifically what I uninstalled. And because of that, shoot. That's no good. Yeah, so I'm not sure if this is going to work with this dependency being unmet. Yeah, I guess I'm tempted to try it, but I really don't see it working. But I will try it anyway. Okay, already we've got no module named Redis. That makes sense. It was very likely one of these modules that errored out when we tried to install it. Okay. So this has been the biggest problem. Kind of the key is just these old school modules, this kind of old technology that they're relying on for this tutorial is either no longer available or just isn't, or some dependency on it is no longer available. So as we saw before, the latest update was over a year ago. The initial publication of the tutorial was like 5 years ago. So unfortunately, I'm starting to get a little bit. I really thought RealPython was kind of an excellent resource. I'm a little bit kind of updating my opinion on it based on the experiences I'm having now. But I don't think it's unsurmountable. I just need to get these installed, and it really looks like the only barrier is that package resources. So I'm going to do a deactivate. I'm going to delete my virtual environment. Okay, and then I'll recreate my virtual environment. And activate the virtual environments. And I can do that by changing directories, because I have that special library installed. And then if I do that, all my local variables are defined in my env. So the next step will be to try to, and I'll do a upgrade. Okay, and then, yep, looks good to me. And then a pip install -r. Let me do a pip freeze before I do that, see if I've got that package back. Yeah, so this is the reason why I uninstalled my virtual environment and then deleted all the files and then recreated them and activated it again because I thought that this package resources would show back up. We can see that's what happened, so let's see if the installation of the requirements goes better now. Now that it does have that dependency. It looks like that dependency, I kind of had the wrong idea on what it was. I thought it was just included in the modules that are needed for this tutorial. And I thought the version 0.0.0 was kind of strange, so my strategy was to remove the specific versioning for that package so that it could just get anything it wanted. But it seemed like what was actually the case with that package is when you create a virtual environment, it automatically gives you that package for whatever reason. So the fact that it's version 0.0.0 is irrelevant to any further thing you're doing with your virtual environment, such as following along with the tutorial. It's just a baked-in dependency that you automatically get once you create a virtual environment. So tampering with that is definitely not a good idea. Okay, and proof is in the pudding here. Things went a lot better this time. We've only got one error for one package now, and it looks like it's this package, and they specifically said in the tutorial if that doesn't work, the next thing to try is the binary like that. So we're going to try that next. So it's going to be pip install -r requirements.txt. All right, so things went a lot better now. That's straight from the tutorial. If there's anything wrong with this library, as we saw there was, just install this version instead. -binary is the same thing, and you should have better results. We can see in this case we did have better results. So let's see if that actually those better results extend to the actual server here. So flask run is the command. Oh, so I'm not sure what this means. So I guess maybe I can't use those files until within my virtual environment because I've only got it installed in my virtual space. I think I am going to do this quick because I'm worried that my environment variables won't extend to my virtual environment unless I have the python.env. But the reason I didn't have that installed is because I was just curious, like, how does it work that if you only have it listed as a pip install module within your virtual environment once it's activated, that when your virtual environment is not activated, you can use that module to activate your virtual environment. I really didn't see how that was possible, so I decided to install it in my global environment and not my virtual environment. But then if you do that, it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. Then your path variables, do they get installed into your global space or your Python virtual space? So that's something I'm going to try, actually. I'm curious enough about that to try. Now that we've got that installed into our virtual space, I'm going to deactivate the virtual space. I'm going to do a pip freeze. Oh, right, I don't even have pip. So let's do a python 3-m python.env. Oh, okay. Alright, well, I'm a little bit confused here because I thought, let's do a history pipe grep apt. Okay, my history only extends to the last time I rebooted my VM. Okay, so that's going to be a bit of a mystery, an unsolved problem there. I think I'm good for now. So let's continue with the plan. We're going to do flask run, and then we're going to see if ultimately the conclusion of this is the same as last time, where it's missing a library. Okay, so we saw that successful 200 request. We'll see that again after I submit a URL. Okay, so here's what we saw at the no job. What? All right, it seemed to be successful, but we've got a problem there. It said that there's no job. I'm not sure what that means. But here's the first success we got. Although we did have a problem here. Now I wonder if this is going to be the no such module. Nope, so this is a no such job. Okay, I'm confused about that. But let's do the next step, and I'm expecting to see the no such module. Oh, I think there was like somehow still loaded somewhere the one of the prior jobs. So I'm not exactly. I'm a little bit lost here, but let's just keep moving on to the next step that was outlined in the tutorial, and that is going to this results URL and pasting the job ID. Aha, and here we go. This is the same error we've been getting. If we go back to the code, we can see no such module. So it can't load this plugin. So let's troubleshoot that. Okay, so the first thing I'll do to troubleshoot, we can see everything else went fine. It successfully executed the job. It just resulted in an error here. So let's see here. So Python, if I open Python, we're running version 369. Let's try to import SQ alchemy. Okay. Dialects, that works. Okay, so let's try from alchemy dialects or PostgreSQL. So here's the problem. So we do have PostgreSQL. So I'm wondering if this is just a typo that was either I made, I accidentally typed QL twice, very, very possible, or a little bit less likely, but still a possibility, the actual tutorial had this incorrect. So this should be pretty easy to fix. I think this is actually the whole problem. It's probably just a fat finger I made. That's okay. So we're going to do a grep-r so that we look recursively through all files and all folders, and then we'll do a -l so that all we get back is the name of the file that contains this string that we know is incorrect. It's got an extra QL at the end. Okay, so there are no files that, what the heck? Why is it doing that? Alright, I'm confused. Alright, so let's look through the the traceback. So it looks like here's one of the files where it's trying to load that module. So let's see where. Okay, so we've got this definition load. So let's see where this load is being called. So we'll do a grep-rl. Oh, we need to put that in quotes. Okay, so all sorts of places it's being called. But we can look at the traceback. Yeah, so we can see here's where it executed load. So name should be, so this, I think this is the file we got to look at here. Don't save. So yeah, so we're loading name. Name is the name of the module. So it's going to be self.driver name. I'm not sure what driver name is. Got 30 results for driver name. Named tuple driver name. Okay. Yeah, and this is really nice about working in an IDE as well. I can just hold down Control, click on this link. It not only will it take me right to the file, it'll take me right to the line in the file. You can see my cursors there. So definitely recommend using IDE. Took me a while to get used to it, but now that I'm used to it, I'm glad I am. So here's the problem here. This, and I think it's specifically this variable name. We can't, we're not having, it's not a legitimate variable. Now, we know from our grep search that we're not going to have the QL show up anywhere. So you know what, let's just do another grep for QL. Okay, so lots and lots of results. Really can't use that effectively. Maybe with a space at the end, are there fewer results? Nope, still all kinds of results. So we need to figure out where it's trying to use this package named QL and how we can change it to use a package named just with one instance of Q and L at the end. So we don't have actual QL called out anywhere. I'm wondering if what's actually going on here is my replace statements in my app.py file are replacing it with something that's not going to work here. So let's open the app.py file, and this -r makes sure that it opens in this instance of Visual Studio Code, not a new instance. I think oftentimes you don't need that, but I just put it there usually to be safe. Okay, so now I'm actually not sure that it was in this file. It might be in a different one. I'm not sure which file it's in. Let's check the manage file next. There should be a replace statement. You know what we can do to make our lives a lot easier? First of all, we can do an env, or let's just do a cat .env are automatically, because I might have a typo in there. So this is kind of what I'm looking for here is there any instance of PostgreSQL SQL that has SQL twice at the end? Think. Well, I think I was looking for that replace statement, so I can make that a lot easier myself and search for .replace. And there might be a lot of results, but one thing I can do is limit it so that it doesn't. Yeah, if I get rid of this -r, that will help a lot because we don't need it to search for every file in every folder. We just need it to search for the files in this folder. Oh, okay. So this needs to go at the end so we can give it a specific folder to search through. Okay, that's a directory. Oh, right. Because grep intrinsically means to search through files. So let's do that. Let's feed it files. So we're going to feed it any file that ends in .py. So star.py. Perfect. We found it in the config.py file. Okay, so let's check that replace statement. Okay, here it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this database URL environment variable, which we have automatically being defined as part of our hidden .env file. So here it is. Okay, so now we're going to replace. Aha! I found it. I found the problem. Yeah. Okay, I don't know how this got on here, but you can see we're replacing any instance of : // with QL // So the result of this is just going to be PostgreSQL // and I think there will be a third // So clearly we don't need this we don't need this replacement statement at all. Yeah, so let's just go with this. Okay, and we're going to need to restart at least the Flask environment so that it rereads the code files. You can make all the changes you want. They won't go into effect until you have your program read those files again. What happens when you first run a program, as far as I understand, this isn't going to be a technical deep dive into what happens when you run a program for the first time, but it's just my working understanding of it, which thus far has been very useful to me. So my understanding, working understanding, not again probably very flawed when it comes to the actual details, is that when you run a program, it basically takes like a snapshot of your code and loads it in, and then basically keeps like a secret hidden instance of the code at the time you ran it. And it's almost like version control, where you make your changes, that snapshot in time of where it was run persists and is unchanged, until you stop the program and run it again and pull in the code again to run it from. So you can kind of think of it like Git versioning, where until you do a commit and a push, your local files are not going to be the same as your remote files. It's kind of like that, where until you stop the program and run it again, the files your program is using to run are not going to be the same as the files you're editing. All right, so let's do that. We'll do that for all of the dependencies as well, just to be thorough. And because it's really no cost, it's probably not necessary to restart both of these. Just this one is necessary, but it's no cost to time. Okay, so things are looking a lot better already. We don't have the first error message that we ran into before, but this is the real moment of truth here. Okay, so we still got an internal server error. Okay, and if this were in my staging or production environment, and if anyone's been carefully poring over every minute of every word of this video, you might say, oh, well, it's not going right because you didn't push it to Heroku, you didn't push any of your changes or commit them or anything like that. So I'm working off of a development environment, so it's going to directly read these files whether I push them to a remote location or not. We're working off of my local location. If we were to look at the staging or production environments, then I would need to do a push to those remote environments. But because I'm running this Flask instance here, any change I make to these files is going to go live to that development Flask instance as soon as I rerun the application to include the files with those changes. Okay, so here's the problem. Database word count dev does not exist, and that is very true. We don't have the database name that. We're going to need to change the path variable to say GNS3 is the name of the database we happen to be using. Perfect. All right, so yeah, feeling really good about this. I really think it's going to work. We'll stop everything and start it again. Everything, even though it's not necessary to do it here. Looks like we got another error message here that might be useful. Might be a little bit clearer than the other one, but the other one was pretty darn clear. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. I had trouble connecting to the Redis server. We'll keep an eye out for that error again. I'll clear out the terminal so that it kind of pops out more if it comes back. All right. I gotta actually make that file go live, so we're gonna do a deactivate. And then cd ... and then cd back into the Flask folder. Yep, so this is the first time these variables are going to be configured because I just changed them. We do want to allow that. That's a nice warning for security purposes or what have you. If there's a change to the file that runs automatically, it won't run it automatically until you authorize it to do so. Okay, and I'd rather run it from this second terminal here so that I can use that first terminal. Okay. I think this is going to work. Ah, no dice. Oh, so it looks like we have another instance of the code calling for this database that does not exist. So let's do our grep statements. So let's do a grep -rl, and we can search for everything. That's fine. But instead of searching for that job ID, we're going to need to search for the name of the database that is being called out, despite it not actually existing. All right, and that's going to be incredibly difficult to do. So I guess I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I'll just keep trying to do it until it does it successfully. There we go. Okay. So somehow it showed up in this migrations file. Okay, so here's word count dev. I'm not sure why that's in there. It looks like it's a change that I made, so I'm going to roll that change back. Okay, and now we've got fewer things in my revision control. So it looks like that's just, with how frustrating this has been to work with, it just kind of worked itself in there somehow. So I got rid of that. But we are going to look at this more closely. Oh. Alright, I don't see it anymore. Alright. Okay, let's try it again. And we'll need to run that last. Let's move that down to the end so we can run that last more easily. There we go. So it still didn't get moved all the way down to the end. Yeah, it looks like the IDE really isn't playing nice right now. I really hate IDEs. I can't even rearrange these files for some reason. It's not letting me. Okay, now we're in a better situation now. Okay, so now let's go through and see if it works better now that I removed that kind of extra, that other instance of the database that's not named properly. Okay, still got an internal server error. Oh, now I see there are, I guess there were always 4, so that's still the same. So we still have this database showing up somehow. So I wonder if like my env local variables didn't get redefined. I think that might be what happened. Okay, so let's try that. Yeah, you know what? I think that's what happened, because I think in these terminals, I think when you redefine it in one terminal, it doesn't automatically propagate over to the other terminals. You have to redefine your path variables in your terminal for each terminal instance you have open, or you have to restart your terminal instances. Okay, so let's just try that. We're going to open 3 more here. Okay, and then I guess I'm fine with having Flask at the top. That was actually a bit more convenient. Alright, that looks good. That looks good. And that looks good. Okay, so now we've got our internal server error. So let's see, it's probably still because it's... Oh, so we got a new one here. So it was unable to add an item to the database. Okay, but that's progress. We're troubleshooting the next error. That means we got the prior one resolved. So maybe there's easier to read. Nope, it looks like the best error message we've got is the one here. Unable to add item to database. So we can get some background by going here. That'll be the first thing I do. Okay, so exception raised for programming errors, table not found or already exists, syntax error in SQL statements, wrong number of parameters specified, etc. So there's something wrong with, it's now got a valid database. It's not saying that the database doesn't exist, but now that it can access the database, it's having problems adding an item to the database. So, what the heck? Can't adapt type. Okay, so straight to Google. That's often the only really way to go. This is something I've talked about before in the... a lot of people on the job will actually save this step or just skip this step altogether and just go right to a coworker. So the way I see this is yeah, you want to have trust in your coworkers. You want to be able to work together. You want to be a part of the team, right? But what I would do before I ask a question is always, give it a good 5 to 10 minutes doing something like this and reading it over and trying some things, and then go to your coworker. It might seem unintuitive to some people who are new because it's like, oh, well, my coworkers are probably a much better source of information than just randomly Googling for something. And that's very likely true in a lot of cases, especially for a really kind of unique and specific problem that not a lot of other people have handled. But even so, just kind of having a kind of informed question or like being able to ask a better question. Basically, what I aim for when I ask questions is anything that um, I couldn't easily find the answer for myself. And sometimes I'm not always perfect with this, but you definitely don't want to be constantly reaching out to your coworkers for things that you easily could have done yourself if you just gave it a little bit of effort. So, all right. So let's see here. All right, so that's um, not a fan of that one. Yeah, this is really advanced. Okay, so here's a good one. Um, this is a file I'm used to looking at. So let's go right to this file and take a look. This is the first thing I want to look at here. So we've got line 92, result equals result dot query dot filter by job ID equals job dot result dot first. Oh, you know what? This is actually really good news now because we can see it actually triggered this block. So we're well beyond the errors we had before. We were actually troubleshooting why it was always listing nay and it was never executing this block code. So we actually completely solved that. We've now got it to actually execute this block. We're just seeing some problems here with the database interaction. Huh. Okay, so let's do this. Let's print out let's print this out. So we've got app.py line 92. Somewhere in this traceback here. I lost it. I think I can do a search. Yeah, there we go. Line 92. And get results, perfect. Made it into this block, perfect. So we do have this job variable we can look into. It looks like we've got a problem. Yeah, so we've got a problem with this results variable. If I tried to print that out, I wouldn't be able to print it out. So the traceback goes kind of deeper into this part of the code here. So we can see the next part is this query.py file, and it's this first method. So let's look at that. Okay, so here we are, line 2762 in first, but we still got to look into that. Okay, so that's the dot first. Yeah, which is here. Yeah, not sure what's going on there. The next is underscore ITER. Which is here. Okay, and then we've got session.py. Okay, skip that one. I mean, I guess we don't have to skip it. It's this here is what we're looking into. Open that one. Okay, and then I'm guessing if the pattern follows, we'll be looking into this next. Yep, so, well, actually, yeah, so this base.py file, I think we'll find that. Yeah, so here it is. Okay. So the base.py file is definitely, or this default.py file. Let's go right to this file, and we can see that we can't adapt a dictionary type. So, and this is happening on line 717. There we go. So we're going to stick to this file here. And this line's not working because we can't adapt a dictionary type. So we'll say, let's do this. For I in cursor statement parameters if type I equals dict print or with open Alright, let's try that. Okay, we should have our changes to default PY pop up here. Oh, it looks like we got a problem. Oh, problem went away. I don't see our changes showing up in here though. I think it's because the VNV is in git ignore. But that's okay, we'll leave it there. Got about 4 minutes, so let's give this another shot. And we should have that tshoot file pop up, and hopefully have a better understanding of what the problem is to hopefully get it resolved once and for all in the next video. We already made a lot of progress in this video. We got past most of our issues. We're just now trying to understand more about that database interaction. Well on our way to getting this to work. Okay, so we got 2 jobs, but the first one didn't have anything in it. So just go straight to the second job. Okay, there's our error. But now we'll have something to help us along with it. We've got hopefully a tshoot file. Don't have the tshoot file. Okay, that's surprising. That's really surprising. Okay, so I guess the type does not equal dict. I'm not sure if I put that in correctly. So let's define a dictionary. So we'll say temp equals a blank dictionary. So if I do a type of temp, okay, so we can do class dict. So let's try temp dict false okay, so we'll do a type temp. We'll take that's still false. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's just write them all out. It doesn't matter. and then we'll write out like a spacer afterwards to make it more clear. There you go. Okay, and then hopefully I've got enough. No, I'm out of time. Okay, I'm out of time. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.